everyone, today I'm going to be testing the Monty Don method for bulb lasagna. I have his book here called The Gardening Book, which came out in 2023. This is the newest edition. And in it, he has a whole section where he talks about bulb lasagna and how to do it. So that's what I'm going to do today. If you've seen the show Gardener's World, then you've probably heard Monty Don talk about planting bulbs and also bulb lasagna. If you don't know who Monty Don is, he's a famous gardener in the UK, which basically means he's a celebrity there. He's super iconic and he's been on Gardener's World for, I don't know, maybe decades at this point. If you haven't seen any of his work, then I definitely recommend checking out some of his shows. I've never done this before, so I'm really excited to give this a try. I've only planted bulbs in a pot once and they rotted because I left them in the rain. So hoping that this time goes a little bit more smoothly and I can have an amazing display with multiple kinds of bulbs. Monty says that you can do this anytime between late August and Christmas. Right now it's the end of November, so I think it's perfect timing for this. So the way Monty explains it is that you want to have your biggest bulbs on the bottom and then gradually get smaller and smaller until your smallest bulbs are on the top. My smallest bulbs today are going to be squill, which I've never grown before. I have a white squill that looked really pretty in the photos, so I'm excited to see what that ends up looking like. I'll walk you through all the supplies. I have everything that he lists in the book, and honestly, I think you could get away with less, but I'm gonna try and stick as close to his instructions as possible. So the first thing that you're gonna need is a deep pot. I went with terracotta because Monty's always using those on the show, but he says as long as there's really good drainage in the bottom, then you should be fine with whatever kind of pot that you have. This was my first time buying terracotta, so I bought a few smaller pots as well so that I could create a little bit of a display with any extra bulbs that I have. I'll be keeping my pots out of direct rain this year, so they should be good to go this winter when it starts raining. The next thing that he says that you'll need is a crock. If you know Monty, he loves a crock. He's always putting these at the bottom of the pot, and the reason for that is so that the soil doesn't get clogged in the bottom and everything can drain right through. I don't totally believe in a crock, but since he really likes them and definitely recommends it, I'm going to use one today. After that, he gives instructions on how to mix your own compost. Basically, what that's going to entail is buying peat-free compost and then mixing that with perlite or horticultural grit. He recommended perlite in the latest episode of Gardener's World because it makes the pot lighter and easier to carry, and I already have some, so I'm going to use that. The reason that Monty says to use peat-free potting soil is because peat is a finite natural resource. It's found in bogs that are mostly located in the UK, and it traps carbon and helps mitigate climate change. So we really don't want to be digging it up for our potting soil, but that is the norm right now. I'm in the US and this was my first time searching for peat-free potting soil. It actually wasn't as easy as I thought, and you really have to do your research and take time to look around. My local nursery only had one option for peat-free potting soil, and so I went with that. The brand is called Opus Grows, and I'm excited to use it today. So one of the fun parts of this project was, of course, shopping for the bulbs. I really wanted a cohesive color scheme, so I narrowed it down to white, a peachy pink color, and a burgundy. And I'm really excited about those because I already have some burgundy tulip bulbs that grow behind me in this area, as well as some peachy orangey bulbs that I'm not sure what the name is, but they're a beautiful Triumph tulip. And then in front of me, I have an area that I have lots and lots of white tulips. I'm kind of going for a white garden over there. And then, so for this, I wanted to blend those two areas since the pots are gonna go in between. So at the bottom of my pot, I'm gonna have 2 layers of tulips, and then I will have daffodils and white squill on top of that. The first layer of tulips is going to be the Triumph Ronaldo tulip, which is a gorgeous burgundy purple color. I think that's what I have over here, so it will be cohesive in that sense. And then above that layer, I'll be having actually 2 different tulips, a mix of 2. So the first one is Cunyon, which is an ivory color that fades into a peachy pink. I'm really excited about this one because I've never seen it in person and I've never tried to grow it myself. And then the other one that will be mixed in with it is called Apricot Impression. And as the name implies, it's a beautiful, rich apricot-y color, and it fades out into more of a vibrant orange. So those are the tulips. Very excited about those. And then above that, I'll have a layer of daffodils. For this, I went with a mini daffodil called Prosecco, and it has multiple flowers on each stem. And it is a beautiful ivory color with peachy notes in the ivory, and then the cups are a peach color. I didn't want to go with yellow for this project since I don't really have it anywhere else in the garden for spring. So this felt right for what I'm doing today. And then on top of that, I'm going to have a white squill, which I've also never grown, which will be really dainty and pretty on top. So those are the bulbs, and I think it's time for us to get started and plant them. So the first step is to put the crock in. So I'm gonna just put that in the bottom of the pot. And then Monty says to fill the bottom of the pot with 6 inches of soil. For the soil, Monty says to use a 1-to-1 mix of the potting soil and the perlite. So that's what I've done, and I'm ready to put the first layer of bulbs. On his show, I've seen him place the bulbs a little bit further apart than this, but when he did that, he said that is the maximum amount that they should be spaced, so I'm going a little bit closer. Okay, so I have my second layer of bulbs down, and then now I'm gonna put about 6 inches of dirt. So when I purchased these terracotta pots, I was smart enough to ask if they had any broken ones lying around, and of course they did. So I was able to get my crocks that way, but really any broken piece of pottery will do the trick. The next layer is daffodils. I love these bulbs because to me they look like little mummies. So I'm just gonna put those in, and again, putting them kind of as closely together as I can without them touching. Monty also says to not worry about how densely you're packing the bulbs because nature finds a way. So basically the bulbs on the bottom will find their way around everything above them and they'll sprout. So now I'm on to my last layer, which was the white squill. So I'm just gonna add a little layer of dirt above these daffodils and then get those sorted. That's the last layer of bulbs, and now we're ready for the last layer of soil. So the last step is to dress the pot. I have some leftover gravel from topping other pots, so I'm gonna use that. So I finished topping my pot. I put a very thin layer of these small stones, and the purpose for that is so that when you're watering the pot, the dirt isn't splashing up on your pretty flowers. And then also it can help keep out squirrels. It's not a fail-safe, but I've definitely noticed that it helps in my garden. So the very, very last step is to water your pot. Monty says to water it now, and then you can put it aside in a sheltered location. It doesn't have to be in the sun. And then in spring, when the shoots start coming up, that's when you'll start watering. I have a few extra bulbs from this project, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my other pots and then wait to water until I'm done with that. If you're interested to see how this project turned out, I plan to post some updates on my channel in spring. So please subscribe if you wanna find out how that turned out. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you're having a great winter season. I'll see you in the next video.